So with this is just going to be some tips, kind of just getting started, especially some of you may not have any experience with Photoshop. So just kind of little intro to the interface. It's not going to go over everything because there's just so much in the program. But we could start out with when we open up. So we would come here. We would go to the window key and we should find Adobe Photoshop right here in kind of that top part. So then we would click on that, it would open, and then we would start with something like this. So right here we see on the left, these are some tools. Up here, this is kind of like your menu items. So we kind of have file, edit. Now you can see that there's many things in each one of these drop down menus. The filter gallery is a nice spot for some different filtered effects, and we also have more filtered effects right here. 3D, we probably won't get too much into 3D. That would be kind of, I think, a little bit more into your maybe animation, design type thing. But for photography, we're going to focus on maybe stuff in your filter menu. Then also down here, we have your fill adjustment layers, your layer mask. So right over here on the right, we see the bottom right, we should see your layers palette. Right there, right now there's nothing there because we don't have anything. We got right here your color, your swatches. So right here are your foreground and your background swatch. So if I were to click on this, we see that the foreground swatch changes. If I would want to reverse those or switch, I would hit X as a shortcut. You can also hit this double arrow. That toggles between the two. Let's say I wanted to change that to a different color, and now I have two colors in my foreground and background swatches. Right here, you can click. If you need to go back to black and white, you can click on this, or you can hit the letter D. That's a shortcut. D on your keyboard. That would bring it back to black and white. But yet, still X would toggle back and forth. We're probably going to use the brush tool quite a bit. There's selections tools, text, the move tool right here. That gives you the ability to move an item. So let's start with if you need to start a new project. So you could go to File, New. And then when this does load up, you may see some stuff here. You may not. You could go to Print. Then that gives you more like pre-template items that you could pick depending on what size you want. Letter is your typical 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. You can also change the size right here if you need to go from inches to pixels. I know in a lot of the tutorials he may start with pixels. But let's go ahead and go right here with letter. We're going to create. And then we see right here we have a blank white image. Right here is your new layer icon. Shift Control N is also the shortcut for that if you would like that, if you like the shortcuts better. And then we see right here we have a new layer. If I click on the brush tool and I would change my colors, let's go with this, and I'm going to hit X so I can change my background color too. The size of the brush, I may want to change that. I can use right bracket as a shortcut to make it bigger, left bracket to make it smaller. And then I can just kind of click and draw. If I want to hit X and add the different color, I can do that. Let's say you want to open an existing project, or you would like to open a photograph that you would like to edit. So then we could go to File, Open, instead of the File, New. You would pick your photograph. So from here, some nice little tricks and shortcuts. Control plus gives you the ability to zoom in. That's your shortcut for that. You can also click on your zoom tool, or Z, for the shortcut for that tool, and you would see a plus. If you hold Alt, should turn to a minus, and then you could zoom out. But if I go off of that and I wanted to zoom in, I could hit Control plus, and then Control minus would zoom back out. Let's say you zoom in really close and you want even faster way to zoom back out to the full screen. You can hit Control and then 0, and then that would give you the overall view in your window. Another thing too, when you zoom in, you may want to brush over something, and then you need to move your canvas. Instead of coming down here to these scroll bars or anything like that, you can hold the space bar button, and then you see this little handle, this little hand pops up. You can click and drag over, and you can move. It's a very short, easy shortcut to use and very handy. And then I can zoom back out. And that is pretty much what I would say. I mean, you got the tools right here. We see there are 2 tabs open. So sometimes when you open another image, you may think like that it deleted or disappeared, but it's just up here, and you can highlight those ones so it's still there. It won't be gone until you actually hit the X, or Control W is a shortcut for that. Save changes, and you can hit yes or no depending on what you'd want to do. And then we would kind of start back over.